Hello, everybody. It's Heather Nichols here, and I'm going to do a slightly different video today. I want to talk about food, and I have some really beautiful food here with me. It is farmers market season, and I just came from the farmers market in Boulder, Colorado, where I live. And it makes me so happy to get to eat food that is grown locally, like really close to where I live. And I've started in the past couple years finding, like really asking for and seeking out food that is kind of hyper local, grown here, made here, produced here, put together here. Obviously with vegetables, it's just grown and that's it. It goes to the farmer's market, you buy it, you put it on your plate. But I found also this beautiful place that has, they sell a lot of fermented foods and yogurts and every kind of raw dairy and animals, and it's amazing. And they do these are fermented beets and fermented carrots, and they make this dressing. I'm about to make a salad. This is like a creamy herb vinaigrette that's made with raw yogurt from their cows. They have cows right there. They sell these broccoli sprouts, and so basically I'm gonna have dinner tonight, and it's gonna be a beautiful salad made with, these are incredible. These are called Hakurei turnips, and they are one of my favorite things on earth. They are so good. They're very sweet. They're not as spicy as a lot of turnips. They're very crunchy and juicy and wonderful. I was so happy to see them today at the market. This was my first trip to the farmer's market. But it's amazing how our bodies get really happy when we give them very nutrient dense foods, and also foods that are, from the area that you live in, if you can. Not everybody has that available to them, unfortunately. What would it take to change that? But even like the meat that I eat is from this area. Like it's from this farm where I go, and I get meat and dairy products and eggs and all these fermented foods and things like that. They have raw ice cream and raw honey and just so many incredible things. And I've been through so many different phases in my life with like eating styles, and when I was about 22 years old, I guess, I became a vegan, and it was actually kind of like for ethical reasons. At the time, I just didn't really like the idea of animals being harmed for food, and particularly the way that they were, factory farming and stuff like that. I read some books that appalled me, and I switched it up. And that was the beginning for me of really seeing the power of food, because before that I had a diet that was pretty crappy. It was, standard kind of college diet, pasta, cheese, just a lot of white food. And I was very unhealthy in college. I was sick all the time. I didn't feel that great. I didn't have very much energy. And I became vegan at the end of college, and it was like my whole body transformed in front of my eyes. And it was like, I lost all of my college weight, and I started having so much energy, and it changed my digestion. It just changed everything. And I was vegan for 4 years, and then I started adding in more dairy again because I knew I needed more fat in my diet. And but then I was vegetarian for about 10 years. And then I was going to have babies, and I found out I had some food allergies and I needed to start eating meat. And my body was really happy with that choice. Like, I'll never forget the first steak that I ate. My body was like, thank you. I hadn't had meat in 10 years, and I just ate a steak. I ate an organic buffalo steak, and my body was so happy. And I felt fantastic. And so part of what I wanted to say with this video is, with food, it's such an interesting thing. I've been learning a lot lately about food. Food has been something that has been a passion of mine for decades, basically since I became vegan and I saw the healing power of food and what it could do, like changing my diet, how dramatically it changed my health. And ever since then, I've played with so many different ways of eating. I've done paleo and raw and, I've done all of it. And now kind of a little bit more keto, but I'm not like carb crazy. Like obviously vegetables are carbs, and I get some really beautiful organic local sourdough bread here in town that is like grown locally, milled locally, baked locally. It's organic. It's heirloom grains. Like, it's just beautiful, beautiful bread. So I don't have a point of view about carbs really. I'm just trying some things right now. And I think that's the thing with food is like, when we give ourselves the bandwidth or the play to explore new kinds of food, different kinds of food and different ways of eating, we can find out what works for our body in that moment. And one of the things that I'm really excited about these days is intermittent fasting. I've been doing a lot of intermittent fasting basically every day. And that has changed my health so powerfully, so dynamically. It's one of my absolute favorite body tools now is intermittent fasting. And it's changed my hormones. My liver has healed a lot and gotten a lot healthier. It's like balanced out a lot of stuff in my like biochemistry. It's just really incredible what intermittent fasting can do. If you're a woman, I highly recommend checking out Dr. Mindy Pelz, who is, she does Fast Like a Girl. That's a book that she wrote that is really, really great. So informative, has so much content and information about how the power of eating really good food and then the power of not eating can be incredibly healing for our bodies. And the thing about all of it is, and this is where I come in and sort of apply my tools from Access Consciousness, which is one of the main things that I do, is that it really, for me, it boils down to constantly being in question with my body and asking my body what's going to work and following that. And there's a whole, it's a process, I would say, like getting to a point where you really trust your body and you know how to listen to your body's cues, like what it is that your body's asking for. And it's not like I could even tell you exactly how to do that. There's just a lot of different tools that are beyond the scope of this video that can facilitate that. But our bodies require different things at different times. And that's really what here we are 8 minutes in, but that's what I really wanted to say is our bodies require different things at different times. And so any sort of diet or eating kind of possibility that you might have, try it. Like if you're like, oh, it might be cool to try fasting, or it might be cool to try, organic, local, or whatever. Just see how it is for your body, and know that nothing necessarily lasts forever, sometimes, like for me, I'm like eating local and organic, very high quality food. Is that something I'll probably do for the rest of my life? I would imagine so. It's shown to be very powerful and valuable for me. But all the different ways of eating, vegan, vegetarian, paleo, raw, carnivore, low carb, keto, it's like there's so many different things out there. And what if you saw them as a tool, and a tool that you could use that could just give your body some different inputs? Our bodies like a lot of variety, and they also like some level of, there's actually something really cool called hormetic stress, which is also beyond the scope of this video, but really like a level of stress that is generative for our bodies, like cold plunging or fasting would be two things that fall in that category, where you create a little bit of stress for the body and the body gets greater as a result of it. So our bodies like to have things mixed up. They like to not know necessarily when their next meal is going to come, and there's a lot of benefits to not eating as much and as often. And there are days where I'm like, I'm not eating today. Like my body would like to fast all day today. And then there are days like today is more of a food day for me. It's like my body's been like, we're having food today, like more than usual. It's like, okay, great, and who knows what tomorrow will bring. But when you educate yourself on different ways of eating, different foods and the value of different foods and the beauty of different foods, and you get to have this conversation with your body where there's a lot of choices available. And it's so cool to just play with, like all this, there's like, I just look at this bounty in front of me and I'm smelling this dill as I'm talking to you, and it smells so good. And that's from the farmer's market. But like all of these fermented foods in front of me, fermented beets, fermented carrots. This I picked up from the farmer's market, ferment culture. It's cabbage, like fermented cabbage is really, really good for you, really good for your gut. The fermented, dressing, like all of those things it's like I learned about that. I was like, wow, fermented foods are incredible for our gut, for our liver, which translates, like the liver is at the center of so much of our health. Like it translates into our hormonal health and our cardiovascular health. And I mean, just et cetera, et cetera. Like there's so much, the liver is really central to so many things. And we can support the liver by giving it, leafy greens, like this beautiful arugula from the farmer's market. But you learn about that stuff. There's so much to learn, and then apply what works for you, what makes sense to you, and just test it out, see how that goes, see what it creates for you, and ultimately to me, it comes down to like creating a reality with food that I feel like I'm using food to create more space in my body. I'm using food to create healing in my body. I'm using food to create more vibrancy in my body. And that's not something that's super common. Most people use food to fill themselves up. And that's where you start to feel sluggish and tired. And it's not really a gift to your body. But when you use it to like give your body a sense of something greater, that's amazing. And that's to me, it's like, that's the purpose of food for my body, is to make my body greater, And so I'm more aware every day of what I eat and listening to my body, and then how that impacts what shows up from there, like what happens to my blood sugar, what happens to, my hunger patterns, what happens with my sleep, all of those kinds of things. They're all connected. So I can go on and on. I am going to be doing a class at the end of the summer. I don't even remember when. There's not even like a post or a link or whatever yet, but I've done it before, but it's called Eating for Space. Diving into a lot of these conversations and really exploring what it is for your body to have food that creates space and healing and generativity and vitality, rather than I ate, now I'm full, now I'm going to go to bed and just fall into a coma, because food it's such incredibly powerful medicine. I cannot even, it's mind blowing to me. It's exciting to me. We can use food to heal our bodies, and we can heal way more than we think with food. And that is just such a gift. So I hope this was a contribution to you. What if you could be so kind to your body in regards to food, with food, and create with your body with food? What would that be like? I hope that was a contribution.